Team Fortress 2 has had an ongoing bot crisis for the past 5 years. At best, they disrupt the gameplay. At worst, people are harassed, doxxed, and swatted for trying to speak out and stop these bots. And all the while, Valve, the multi-billion-dollar company with infinite resources, isn't doing a damn thing about it. To me, this isn't about being able to play one of my favorite games of all time. This isn't about wanting a new content update. This isn't about wanting anything new to add to the game. To me, this is about getting Valve to get off their ass and actually fix their damn game that is still making them money and they are encouraging people to spend money on. Because here's the thing. I, like a lot of people, do like Valve. I think they're one of the greatest AAA companies out there. In fact, I put them up there with Nintendo in terms of my favorite AAA companies. But here's the thing, and I need to stress this right now. I like these companies as game developers. They've created some of the greatest and influential games of all times. But as companies, yeah, I'm not going to deny and pretend that they're perfect, because they're not. Though it is a bit funny when you think about it, the reason Nintendo pisses people off is because they do too much. And the reason people are pissed at Valve is because they don't do enough. And frankly, why would they? Like I said, they're a multi-billion-dollar company with infinite resources. That's kind of what happens when you own the biggest gaming store ever. But like I said, enough is enough. Valve has been complacent for too long. Their game, one of the greatest games they ever made, one of the longest-lasting multiplayer shooters ever, is being left to die because of their negligence. It is not dying, it is being murdered by negligence. And honestly, that is a shame because, like I said, this is one of my favorite games of all time. It's one of those games I come back to every now and then, or at least I want to, because I just genuinely have a good time with it. But ever since this bot crisis started, every time I've had the thought of wanting to play it again, I remember that it exists and nothing is done about it, so I just don't play it. And that shouldn't be the case for this game. Now, I'm sure some of you may have seen this video showing that the player numbers of TF2 aren't actually as big as Steam makes them out to be. But still, the fact that this 17-year-old multiplayer shooter still has any large amount of active audience of real humans is insane. Look at the modern gaming landscape, where so many live service games are released only to die within a few months just because they just simply are not good games. Compare that to a game that released in 2007 and is still having one of the most active and lovable fan bases I've seen. Well, maybe not lovable depending on which side of the internet you're on, but still, the fact that they're just so active and so passionate about this game just shows just how big of a deal this is. Now, I'm sure a lot of you may remember the hashtag SaveTF2 movement that happened around 2 years ago, where the community tried to come together to get Valve to fix this problem. And, we got that one tweet in response, and everything just stopped. And that was one of the many problems that we went through during that last movement. But time has passed, we've learned from our mistakes, and now we're fighting back stronger than ever, and we will not rest until Valve actively fixes the problem. They can make as many tweets as they want, but unless we actually see an issue being fixed, we're not going to take your word for it anymore, Valve. Now, there are naysayers out there who say that we should just give up, that this is a lost cause. And you know what? Maybe they're right. Valve clearly has their priorities somewhere else. But here's the thing. And I'm sure if you've seen a video like this about this movement, you've heard this before, but I have to say it again. What do we have to lose by trying? Honestly, give me an answer to that. What do we lose by trying? If you don't want to participate, then that's fine. But don't act like we're not trying our best to do what we can to fix this game we hold dear to our hearts. The main inspiration for this movement actually comes from the World of Warcraft vanilla server fiasco. You can look that up if you like, but basically it's a situation where the fans kept fighting back against Blizzard's insistence of changing World of Warcraft. It got to the point where a petition was signed, and every name on that petition was printed out and hand-delivered to Blizzard HQ so they could have an idea of exactly how many people want this problem to end. And you know what? That's exactly the plan this time around. In the link in the description is the official website for the Fix TF2 movement. And on there is a petition you can sign that at some future point, every name will be printed and hand delivered to Valve HQ. And if you don't want to use the World of Warcraft example, then I can list 2 other recent gaming fiascos with similar situations: Helldivers 2 and Stellar Blade. Now, I've never played Helldivers 2, but from everything I've heard, it's a great game that completely makes live service games actually fun. But then Sony came along and forced everyone, or at least attempted to force everyone, to have a PS account in order to play the game, which by default excluded majority of the countries in the world from being able to play a game that they had already bought and played and couldn't get a refund on. And you know what happened? The community was pissed. They made their voices heard. They made it very clear they did not want this, that this was a stupid decision, and that Sony needed to fix the problem. And you know what? They did. Sony finally caved and reversed their decision. And speaking of Sony, Stellar Blade. Say what you will about the game and the gaming landscape, but the fact of the matter is, when game developers promise that they're not going to censor their game, but then release a patch on game release that censors the game, you can bet your ass gamers are going to be pissed about being lied to. After enough fighting and making their voices heard, guess what? The decision was reversed and the game was brought exactly how it was promised. And these are 2 situations that occurred this year in 2024. So if that can work then, why can't it work now? Now, there is the possibility that this won't work. I acknowledge that. A lot of people should acknowledge that. But you know what? If Valve doesn't do anything, that speaks more to what they are than what we are. Like I said in the beginning, people are literally being harassed, doxxed, and swatted over these bots. That is not acceptable. If literally any other game was going through that issue, you can bet people are gonna make a stink about it. And that's why we should make a stink about it too. So if Valve continues to just not do anything about it, what does that say about them? And from what I've heard, this isn't just a Team Fortress issue either. Apparently, Counter-Strike 2 has had a very similar situation to Team Fortress 2 when it comes to these bots. So this isn't just a TF2 issue, this is a Valve issue. Valve needs to step up and fix their Valve anti-cheat. Or as the community is referred to it now, VAC now stands for Valve Allows Cheaters. And you know what? At this point, yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. They're allowing these cheatings to occur while actively profiting off them. Because if you didn't know, one of the very, very, very minute things Valve did to try to fix the bot issue was that in order to use voice chat, or one of the very, very, very basic things you should be able to do in this game, you have to pay money. You have to buy something from the Manco store in order to use voice chat. And you know what? The fact that there are bots to this day who use the voice chat to disrupt this game, there's only one conclusion you can draw from that. Valve is actively profiting from these bots. That is not a good look for them. No matter how you slice it, this just all comes to the fact that Valve is just being negligent and not doing their jobs. If they really don't want anything to do with Team Fortress 2 anymore, then why are they still updating the game with cosmetics? Why is the Manco store still open, which allows you to buy things? Why would they do that if they don't see Team Fortress 2 as worth their time? Look, Valve, at the end of the day, you still are one of my favorite AAA gaming studios out there. That's not going to change. Like I said, the games you've created are some of the most beautiful and talked about and legendary games of all time. Half-Life, Portal, Team Fortress 2, Dota, Counter-Strike. These games are still talked about and beloved to this day. That is a testament to just how well your design philosophy is. So it really does piss me off to see you being complacent like this. You truly are a revolutionary company, and for the most part, you have earned my trust in a lot of aspects. Heck, when I was trying to buy a virtual reality headset a few years ago, given the choice between the $1,000 Valve Index kit and the $300 Quest, I chose the Index because I would rather my money go to you than Meta. But again, I can't pretend you're without fault, because you very much are at fault, especially now more than ever. I get you want to move on to other things. I get you want to continue revolutionizing gaming. I get that. But when you have a player base as active as the one you have right now, who is begging and crying for your help just to make your game functional, at the end of the day, that's all we want. We want this game to be functional. We want to be able to hop onto the game and just play it without worry of whether or not we're going to be kicked from a server because it's being overrun by bots who decide to vote kick any human who enters. We want to be able to play the game without having to worry about instantly being sniped as soon as we peek around a corner. We should be able to hop into a match and not have to worry about if we're just going to be spammed with Discord links to spam servers, or just have the most vulgar and just awful things spammed in voice chat and text chat. And yes, I'm aware humans can do this stuff, but not at the rate that these bots are doing. At the end of the day, we just want this game to be able to be played. We want this game to last another 17 years. At the end of the day, it just boggles my mind that this game has lasted as long as it has, and the reason it's finally quote unquote dying is just because of something that could easily be avoided if Valve actually tried something. Anything. Even if nobody at Valve wants to work on the game, just hire somebody who will work on it. I guarantee you, someone out there will work through the spaghetti code of Team Fortress 2 to find a way to fix it. Well, to find a way to implement a better anti-cheat system. At the end of the day, that's the best case scenario. Get a better anti-cheat, because VAC just isn't cutting it anymore. So, at the end of the day, above all else, all we want is to play Team Fortress 2. That's all we want. We just want to get into the game, play it game, have fun. Because you know what? Hopping into TF2 for the first time in a long time to gather footage for this video, and sure, I did get a lot of footage of the bots, but when I got into a server that wasn't overrun with bots, guess what? I was having fun. I was just having a good time. The fact that I hadn't played in such a long time, and yet I was still just having a good time. Even though I was completely getting dominated, it didn't matter because I was having fun. We were all having fun. And that's what this game is about. So the fact that we can't just do that because of the negligence is just awful. So if you're watching this right now and want to help, then there are ways to do it. Like I said, in the link in the description is the site where you can sign a petition and just get your name out there. If you come across a post on any platform with the hashtag FixTF2 or SaveTF2, give it a like, give it a share, get the word out. Every little voice helps. The sooner and louder we can reach Valve, the better our odds are. Because at the end of the day, I don't want this game to die. Or at the very least, I don't want it to be as violently slaughtered as it's being right now. I understand one day Team Fortress 2 will end. I get that. We all get that. But if it's gonna happen, it needs to happen organically, not like this. So I normally don't make videos like this, but this is such an important issue to me that I just had to say something. I had to get my voice out. I want to get back into playing this game. Even if it's not on a regular basis, I still just want to play this game that means so much to me and has such a legendary status in gaming history. And that's about it. So again, Valve, please, on behalf of the entire community, fix Team Fortress 2.